another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. If you like all things true crime related from the police perspective, consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll get all things DutyRon when I go live or upload another video. Hey, today, guys, I want to talk to you about two cases. Obviously, we all know about Quinton Simon, the case of this 20-month-old who has been now missing over a month. Still have no answers. We still are waiting for our federal and local partners in the Chatham County Police Department to give us some answers to what happened to Quinton Simon. We also have Thomas Valva's father, Michael Valva. I spoke extensively about this case going back to January of 2020. He was frozen in the garage, 8 years old, by his father, a former New York City Transit police officer. I am going to link that case here in some cards that I'll link, and I'll also link it down below in the description. Hey, I want to say a special thank you to the moderators, the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the subscribers, the replay viewers, the people who send in questions, and the good folks who are supporting their local law enforcement across the United States. I want to say thank you to you guys. You're what makes this a great place. And I give thanks and praise to each and every one of you for acting like good human beings. And that's what we are looking to do here, is to not only educate from the police detective's perspective, but to also share thoughts and opinions, but we do it respectfully. We don't act like savages. We don't act like animals. And that's the thing that makes Crime Time with DutyRon and Profiling Evil and some of the great places that you can find on YouTube, some of the best streets to hang around. Dawn Marie, thank you for being here. Hi, Amelia. Lorna McKenzie, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Hi, Mystery Mavid. Wild Z Pony, good to see you. Thank you, Richella. So I want to jump quickly into the Quinton Simon case, and then I want to spend the rest of the time speaking about Thomas Valva and his father, because the trial has commenced. The trial is over. The jury is deliberating in the Thomas Valva matter, and we're going to get into that in a minute. I wanted to talk about, you know, you guys can go and watch some of my previous videos. Listen, we have a situation where there is a perpetrator in the Quinton Simon case. A perpetrator is named by the police department, but we need to have them do their job to get the required evidence to bring whoever is responsible for the demise of this young 20-month-old baby. We need to bring them to justice and do it one time and do it the right way. If we don't do it right and we jump quickly based on our emotions and opinions and thoughts, then that's how the criminal justice system fails, bringing someone to justice. It's not that the criminal justice system would fail, but if you don't do it the right way the first time, then we have a problem. We have a problem because the person will wind up eventually getting off. So thank you, Brenda. Hello, Princess Michelle. So I think it's important that we all, look at each other and say, listen, I know that we are pissed off. We're mad as hell about a potential suspect walking amongst us, but there's criminals that are walking amongst us on a daily basis. We can't just go and tackle them and bring them in and say, I feel that you did this. You need to have the evidence to back it up. So I feel strongly about the police department in this case. They have strong evidence. They're working on getting everything, and more importantly, finding Quinton's remains and bringing him back to have a final resting place for him, to bring him home. And when I say bring him home, that doesn't mean home back to the place where he was failed. Bring him home, we're referring to, letting him rest in peace, because the police have already said that they know that he is deceased, and that is heart-wrenching in itself. All right. So let me just say quickly, I want to thank everybody who gets it, who understands that there's a process that has to go that we have to go through to get to the point of where we have somebody locked up. And for those of us who don't understand the exact process, I have affected close to 1,000 arrests over my 2 decades as a police officer in New York City Police Department. And I think I've had maybe one arrest that was 343. And when I say 343, that means that the district attorney failed to prosecute the arrest. And it wasn't even my fault. The person was brought in, was placed under arrest, and somebody who brought the charges against that person, the district attorney deemed it not to be a good case. So they made the choice to dismiss the charges. But 1 out of 1,000 is a very high rate, a high effect, a high percentage rate of effectiveness. So I think that it's important that all the ducks are in order, and if you don't have the ducks in order, you can't just jump to the conclusion and bring somebody in just because you really feel strongly in your mind and you're angry that that person is not being brought to justice. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. To quote other cases, to look at other cases, no two cases are the same. So some people will bring up, oh, Casey Anthony, oh, this one, that one. This is the Quinton Simon case. This is a case of a 20-month-old who is alleged to have been murdered by his family, right? By his mother. But until that comes in to play and all of the evidence is in place, you can't just go on your feelings, your anger, your conclusion. Your conclusion is not what's going to take a successful prosecution. And that's what I'm saying. Um, so thank you, Jody, for your brother's service and Back in the Blue. Joey Brooklyn, good to see you. Trust the process. Sometimes we get jaded and we don't trust the process because the process doesn't always work. But you have to give it a chance. If you don't give it a chance to work, and you think that by jumping up and down you're going to get some other results that you're looking for, you're sadly mistaken. you know and listen, I talk about jagaloons all the time. Life is full of jagaloons. Look at the internet, look at what's going on, you know with adults fighting with each other. This should be wholeheartedly about this 20-month-old baby, but unfortunately it's not. And we see it in a lot of cases. And that's where we lose grip of what's most important. You can't lose grip of what's most important here. And what's most important is to bring this child, this baby home, and to have a successful prosecution. All right, let's segue on to Thomas Valva. 8 years old, January of 2020, he was frozen in a 19-degree garage by his father, a former New York City police transit police officer. Thomas Valva, in the final moments of his life, his father was screaming at him and striking him as he died of hypothermia. That should be enough to convict of the top charge, murder of the second degree, said the prosecutor Thursday morning at closing arguments in Riverhead Court. Thank you, Wild Pony, for that message. Much love and respect. But Michael Valva, the father's defense attorney, argued that the actions of his client that he took that day demonstrated he wanted his son to die. He wanted his son to die. He didn't want his son to die, but that he made a valiant effort to save the boy. That's the defense attorney. And we all love to hate our criminal defense attorneys, but they're a part of the process. Look at the team that represented the Parkland shooter. I mean, that defense team took so much heat in the victim impact statements of the Parkland shooter trial that just happened just a few days ago, right? They have to be there to represent, right? So Michael Valva's defense attorney, there's two of them, or three, I believe, they're defending him right to the end. You know, um, the narratives that were presented inside a Riverhead courtroom, it was packed with 70 onlookers, were the lead detective, the school teachers, the counselors, and all of the people who witnessed some of the horrors that were inflicted on little baby Thomas Valva, 8 years old. The district attorney, Kerry Ann Kelly, addresses the jury in the closing arguments in the Michael Valva trial in Suffolk County. Assistant District Attorney reminded the jurors the allegations that Michael Valva beat his son, Thomas Valva, starved him to death, emotionally abused him, and used his fiance as the domineering force and the reason why he inflicted this abuse. This abuse, according to the prosecutors, lasted from 2017 until 2020 when he died of hypothermia. That's when Michael Valva got full custody from the baby's mother, Justina Zupko Valva. This is a horrific, horrific case. So his defense attorneys keep trying to tell the jury that he didn't mean for his son to die, that he was a good father, and that he did not want his son to die, which is hogwash because he was texting his fiance Angela Polina and making jokes about the son on camera face planting in a garage that was 19 degrees temperature. Now, I did a search of the history of the temperature outside in Suffolk County in the days and the months that led up to Thomas Valva's death. I went over October, November, December of 2019, and then I went over the weather in January of 2020. And all of those months, the majority of the days it was below 32 degrees. October, November, December, and January. So that those boys, not just Thomas who's died, but his brother Anthony, stayed in that garage. October, November, December, January, 4 months in temperatures below 32 degrees. There was the majority of the days of those months in my research were below 32 degrees. So these two boys, one survived and the other, obviously, we know didn't, were subjected to sleeping in that garage for extended period of time because according to the camera monitoring system, they were in that garage the whole month of January. Don't you think that a reasonable person would believe that in the month of December for the Christmas holiday, those boys slept in that garage? And don't you think in the month of November, those boys slept in that garage too? I would bet you a gazillion dollars that they were in that garage, not just in 2019, but winter of 2018, they were with those two animals, those two savages, those two demons. Forget about animals. Animals would treat somebody better than this. They were with those demons winter of 2018, winter of 2019. So those poor little kids, they suffered in the garage in these freezing cold temperatures. On Monday, this was astonishing to me. On Monday, the judge told the jurors that they were able to consider lesser charges. Instead of second-degree murder, that they could consider uh, looking at criminally negligent homicide, which to me is disgusting. Instead of second-degree murder, you think that it's appropriate to consider charges of second-degree manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide? This is clearly second-degree murder. He showed no, um, uh, he showed no remorse. He showed no um, taking. This is just beyond. Like for me, my head is exploding when I heard this on Monday. Um, I'm going to do a full video over the weekend on this. I'm going to do a full video on this. But, the defense, uh, of course, they're going to try to defend their client, but the prosecution did an unbelievable job of presenting all the evidence. The prosecutor showed text messages in the exchange between Michael Valva and Angela Polino. One of them, Valva said, okay, if they keep soiling themselves, talking doesn't work. So maybe I'll bloody his face. This is a text message between Angela Polina, who's going to stand trial next, and Michael Valva. He said to her, they don't listen to me talking, so maybe I'll bloody his face. Maybe he'll listen then. Valva is charged with second-degree murder and 4 counts of child endangerment. He pled not guilty on the charges, and his defense attorney agreed. The defense attorney agreed with the judge that um, that the that the jury would have an opportunity to look at second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide in addition to second-degree murder. It's just despicable. It makes my blood boil. It makes me angry. It makes For me, I said to myself, why does this judge even give them that opportunity? They should just consider the charges that were thrown at them, is put onto him, and consider the charges presented and give either a guilty or a non-guilty verdict. But again, this may have me saying to myself, this is a way to, if they were going to find him not guilty of these murder second degree charges, and I don't know how in God's name that they could come up with not guilty in this trial, but I feel like this is like almost like a cushion. The criminally negligent homicide is punishable by 5 to 15 years in prison, the lowest charge. um it's just crazy. This whole thing has got my head spinning, and we're going to follow this very closely, because if they don't come back with a guilty in murder of the second degree, then I don't know what the hell is going on here. Because the amount of evidence that I watched and listened to, right? Hi, Tina. How are you? Gladys DePizzo says he needs to go for life. I agree. I agree 100%. Brenda, I don't get it either. But again, the way I see this is that they wanted those charges thrown at the jury just in case they were going to bring a not guilty. They didn't. This is a way to ensure that he just doesn't walk away from it, because considering those lesser charges, if they for some reason couldn't find him guilty unanimously, that they'd have something to fall back on, and not see this defendant walk out. And Jess, of course, Jess, the mystery maven, she's an attorney. That is the idea of the judge, to have them consider these lesser charges just in case. All right. But the problem is here, he's been in prison the whole year of 2020, the whole year of 2021, all of 2022. So guess what? He's got already 3 years time served. So he's got 3 years in, and if he gets convicted or he gets found guilty of these lesser charges, 5 years and a maximum of 15 years, he's already almost got 3 years service already. So if he got the minimum 5 years, he could be out in 2. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Let's follow this closely. I want to say thank you to everybody who has hung out. Yeah, it is sad, Alicia, or the max of 15. But of course, it's multiple charges. There's not just the one charge. There's a total of 4 charges. So we're going to go over this. Maybe tonight I'll fire up a live stream and we'll do a dedicated uh, Thomas Valva, Michael Valva um, conversation. I'll try to ask Joe Murray to come on and join us. But listen, I want to say thank you to everyone who leaves comments down below. If you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing to Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Ed is traveling to Morocco. He's going to Africa for 2 weeks. We're gonna have Ed Wallace available. He's bringing all of his gear, so he still will be able to come on with us. Yes, justice for Thomas. Thank you, Joey Brooklyn. Ed Wallace is traveling to Morocco for 2 weeks. He's going to be training with the Department of Defense. He's doing a lot of Army training, as I call it. He'll be there for 2 weeks, but he has his equipment. He's got his gear with him, and he's going to have good live streams. Good live streams. But he's going to have good Wi-Fi. So it should be awesome. We should be able to get together with him sometime soon, I hope. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of things are happening. Follow me for all things Thomas Valva, Michael Valva, trial related, and also Quinton Simon. Guys, I want to say thank you for you guys for joining today. Hope you have a really great weekend. I will fire up at least 1 or 2 live streams over the weekend. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. I'll see you on the next one. Remember, as Ed says, stay safe, watch your six. I'm going to say, guess what? Thank you for joining, and God bless. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace and love from Crime Time with DutyRon. Thanks for joining.